All right, let's dive into something that's going to seriously level up your .NET MAUI apps. Dependency injection. We're going to break it all down so you can start writing code that's cleaner, way easier to test, and just a whole lot more professional. Let's get into it.
So, I want to kick things off with a pretty bold statement. In a really well-designed application, seeing the new keyword to create a dependency, well, that's what we call a code smell. It's basically a red flag that you're locking your components together, making your code rigid, hard to change, and a real nightmare to unit test.
And here's what I mean side by side. Look at the left, the old way. The ViewModel is creating its own data surface. It's completely stuck with that one specific class. But now look at the right, the pro way. The ViewModel just asks for a data service in its constructor. It doesn't know or care where it came from, only that it fulfills the contract of the interface. That right there is loose coupling in action.
Okay, so you're probably looking at that and thinking, I see the difference, but why is this pro way really that much better? It kind of looks like more work. And you know what? That is the perfect question. It gets right to the heart of why we even bother with this stuff. It's not just about being clever. It's about a complete shift in how you think about building your app.
And the answer to that why is a core principle called inversion of control, or IOC. It's a simple idea. Instead of your class, like your ViewModel, being in charge of creating its own dependencies, some other system does it for you. Your class doesn't control its dependencies anymore. That control is inverted. It's handed off to a container.
So how do we actually achieve that inversion of control? Well, that's where dependency injection, or DI, comes into play. It's the pattern we use. An object doesn't build its own tools. It just receives them when it's created. Someone else, our container, is the factory that builds the service and just hands it over.
You know, the best way to think about this is like one of those meal kit services. Your ViewModel is the chef. So step one, the chef doesn't go shopping. They just say, I need the stuff to make lasagna. That's the interface. Step two, the meal kit company, our DI container, gets the specific pasta, the specific sauce. That's the implementation. Step three, it all gets delivered right to the chef's kitchen. That's the injection. And finally, step four, the chef just starts cooking. They have no idea what store the ingredients came from, and they don't care. They just trust that they got what they asked for.
So how do we become that meal kit service in our .NET MAUI app? Well, the really good news is the framework has a powerful built-in system for all of this. Let's walk through the 4 exact steps you need to take to get your very first dependency injection setup running.
First things first, you're going to open your MauiProgram.cs file. This is Command Central for your app's configuration. Second, you register your services. You're basically telling the app, hey, anytime someone asks for an IMI service, I want you to give them an instance of my service. We'll talk more about what AddSingleton means in a sec. Third, in your ViewModel or wherever you need it, you just ask for that interface in the constructor. The container handles the rest. And finally, just assign that to a local field, and you're ready to go.
Okay, once you nail down those basics, you'll start running into the finer details, the kind of stuff you only learn from experience. The 2 most important topics are service lifetimes and the common errors that can totally crash your app on startup. Let's go over those so you can sidestep the usual traps.
When you register a service, you have to pick its lifetime. A singleton means one and only one instance is created for the entire life of the app. It's perfect for things that don't hold state, like a logging service. A transient service, on the other hand, means you get a brand new instance every single time one is requested. This is great for lightweight things that might hold some temporary state. Getting this choice wrong can lead to really weird bugs and memory leaks, so it's super important to understand the difference.
Now, I have to be real with you. DI isn't totally free. As Microsoft themselves point out, there is a small performance cost. The container has to use something called reflection to figure out how to build all your objects, and that can add a little bit to your app startup time. But honestly, for the massive architectural benefits you get, it's a trade-off that's almost always worth it.
Sooner or later, it's gonna happen. You'll run your app and bam! It crashes immediately with a terrifying error message about not being able to resolve a service. We have all been there. When that happens, don't panic. Just come back to this checklist. First, and this is the most common one, did you just forget to register the service in MauiProgram.cs? Second, are you asking for the interface, not the concrete class? Third, double-check those lifetimes. And fourth, this is the sneaky one. Does the service you're asking for have its own dependencies that you forgot to register?
So, after hearing about performance costs and startup errors, you might be thinking, is this whole thing really worth the hassle? And the answer is a huge, resounding yes. The little bit of work you put in up front pays you back tenfold in the long run.
It's all about the health and sanity of your project.
And here is that payoff. You get loosely coupled code, which is way easier to change. You get amazing testability, because you can just swap out a real database service for a fake mock one in your tests. Your app startup can actually be faster, since explicitly telling the app what to register is more efficient than it having to scan for everything. It all leads to cleaner, more predictable, and more professional code.
Look, theory is great, but the real learning happens when you actually apply it. So I'm not just going to leave you with ideas. I'm going to give you a challenge, a simple, concrete plan to start refactoring your own code and putting this into practice today. Here is your mission. Step 1. Hunt down just one place in your code where you've used the new keyword to create a service. Step 2. Extract an interface from that class. Step 3. Go to MauiProgram.cs and register it. And Step 4. Go back to where you found it and inject the interface into the constructor instead. That's it. Just one dependency at a time.
The most important thing is just to start. Don't feel like you have to refactor your entire app in one go. That's a recipe for disaster. Just pick one small thing and see it through. That's how you build momentum and confidence. So I'll leave you with this question. What's the first dependency you're going to refactor?